What's good, everybody? Welcome back to Candid Convos. I'm your host, Quay Price. We got Chloe on deck. We got Janice on deck. We got Vince on deck. Man, say what's up to the people.
Hello, everybody tonight. Hey, Janice.
Hello.
Man, Vince, you said that like you know it's coming tonight, man.
I'm not fooling with y'all.
We're not gonna start the show off like this. Happy Wednesday, y'all.
See, I was waiting on that right there. I was waiting on that happy Wednesday right there. It's all good. It's all good. Shout out to everybody joining us tonight. We appreciate you guys always rocking with the platform. Man, right out the gate, do us a favor. Like, share, subscribe. Hit that share button. Hit that like button. Let me throw it up just in case y'all ain't hear me. Hit that share button. Hit that like button. Let's help us out with the Facebook algorithm. We are definitely live right now on YouTube and on Facebook. So like I said, definitely drop a subscribe for us. Help us get our subscribers up. And man, drop a comment. Let us know where you're checking in from. Got a couple folks checking in early. We got Remy Williams in the building. She said, good evening, guys. What's going on with you, Remy? Appreciate you rocking, checking in with us tonight. Kenyatta in the building. Hey, everyone. Here she go with the happy Wednesday, too. Okay. I see this catching on. Let's see. Donovan in the building. He says, spring is here. What's up, everyone? You know, Donovan, I don't know about this spring, bro. It's still a little
cold.
Still a little chilly.
It was nice here in VA. We was outside playing soccer at the park and everything. So sorry.
You know what? Yeah, okay.
Sorry.
All right, shout out to Shantae in the building. She said, hey, FB fam. Shantae. I saw you earlier, Shantae. We're gonna get on into that. Donovan said, LOL. Yeah, Donovan, it's still cold up here, man. The grass still brown, nothing growing, nothing happening, man. So until I see some actual sun and feel some actual change in temperature, it ain't spring yet, man. We're gonna do it just like that. But like I said, once again, shout out to everybody joining us tonight. I'm trying to think. What am I forgetting? Oh, yeah. Let me do this real quick while I'm thinking about it. Here's the link to the panel. So if you want to join us up on the panel, get your face up on the screen with us. You do have the ability to cut your camera off if you choose. But we always encourage you to keep it on for better engagement and a better show. So here's the link right here. We'll let it float for a little bit. We also have it in all the chat feeds, so you can catch it on the Candid Combos page on Facebook and YouTube. We got the link up, and also as a backup, you can catch it on the Quay Price page on Facebook as well and get it there. And for anybody who is technically or technologically inclined, I will message it to you. So you can shoot me the message. I'll shoot it straight to you, make it easy on you. All right, so we in here. See, I don't think I got no sponsors tonight. Let me slide over to my guy, Vince. You got anything popping, Vince? What we doing, man?
No, I don't. I say we need to jump right on into it, right into the deep end.
Okay. I think you muted, Janice.
I got to get used to this again. I'm sorry.
It's all good. It's all good. What you want to say?
Is Vince in his kitchen or is he at a bar?
Where you at, Vince?
I'm in my man cave.
Oh, goodness. It's nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, we call that Williams Studios right there. You got the nice setup. Got the nice production going on. You know, like I said, a couple of my favorites in the background. I see a little crown sitting back there, one of my old faves. Mm-hmm. So yeah, shout out to the studio production popping off. See, Janice, she done missed a couple things. I said, Vince done, like I said, I think he said Remy got him together over there. So he got the nice little hookup.
Oh yeah, got my spotlight and everything.
He upgraded him.
I was like, the lighting is good.
No, Vince been doing this thing. That's why I call it the Williams Studio. He been doing this thing over there. It's looking crisp too. Yeah, I'm like, I got to step my game up a little bit. All right, I'm gonna drop this link for right now. So, when anybody else need that link, let me know. We'll throw it back up. Let's see. Got any comments coming in? Oh, that's Remy right there throwing a smile up there. No, we're gonna give you your credit, Remy. We know like I said, Vince told us you got him together over there. So we know what it is. We know what it is. All right. So let's go on and get into this topic. For the topic for tonight, who should protect and provide, mom or dad? That was quiet right there. Let me run that back. Topic for the night: who should provide or protect and provide, mom or dad? All right. So of course we got a video for context. Let me give y'all a little preface to why we doing this show tonight. So I had a young lady reach out. She was unable. She was gonna make it, but then she had some things come up. She was unable to make it on the show. I hate that she's not here. But like I said, she came across this video. Her exact words were, "It grinds her gears." So when she saw this video, it set her off. So yeah, so she reached out. I agreed to check the video out, and let's say, let's have a conversation. I said, once again, we run from no conversations on this show. I don't care what it is. Relationships, families breaking down, friction between men and women, sex, like I don't care. Because all this stuff is causing us a problem in one way or another. So the only way we're going to talk through this stuff and get to a better outcome or an increased outcome, as I said, we got to hash it out regardless of what it is. So yeah, let me just preface by saying that. I said, I've seen some comments already, so I know, where some folks stand, but we're going to have this conversation regardless. So let's get on into this. Let's see, you guys, as always, let me know if you can't hear it when it plays, and we'll go from there. All right, let's see.
Mothers are literally the worst parents on the entire planet. That's the first thing. And statistics back that. So over 70% of young men that grow up under a single mother in particular, end up in prison. And I think, if I'm not mistaken, 68% of young women that grow up under a single mother in particular end up a single mother herself. But when it comes to a two-parent family and a single father household, a young man has a 90% chance of never going to prison. And that is one of the biggest differences why we men have to go get our children from these freaking women. That is an issue, because the reason why so many of us are messed up is because we were all, or most of us, were raised by women, which are the worst parents on the entire planet, statistical wise.
All right. So topic for tonight. Who should protect and provide, mom or dad? All right. So yeah, so I know you guys saw the video. I think I shout out to, I think his name is Mr. Let Go. For the video and the content. So like I said, I got sent this video. So, the young lady wanted to have a conversation around this video. I'm always open to have a conversation. So essentially what I think Let Go is trying to say is, based on stats, and like I said, I can't validate the stats, but based on the stats, he's stating that essentially we have better chances not being raised under single mothers, if I'm understanding what he was saying, based on what he was saying. So yeah, let's get right into it. So let's see, I got a comment real quick. CC says, what statistics is he? I'm assuming that's saying, was he reading?
Right.
So yeah, so CC, I don't know the stats. Like I said, I'm just going off the video, but he gave some scenarios. So essentially scenarios and stats, based on what he provided. So I'm going to work off of that in my response to what he said. Let's see. And Kenyatta said both parents should provide and protect if possible. Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, no doubt. All right. So I'm going to go to the panel. Let's say we can get on into it. I'm going to go to Vince, Chloe, Janice, anybody down in the comments. Drop a comment. Let us know where you stand with it. But I don't know. Anybody want to kick us off? Anybody feel anything right out the gate?
So I'm gonna let the other panel members speak first, but I'm gonna say this, okay? This particular gentleman, I don't always agree with what he says. I don't. I'm right now looking for the statistics that he claims, that he's making the claim about, right? I'm going to look for those statistics myself. Guys, if I find them during the show, y'all already know I'm going to pull up the receipts. However, I will say this. This particular gentleman doesn't typically quote fraudulent stats. I've seen him on several podcasts, and he has a show of his own. And it's too easy to pull up receipts on people these days. And I haven't any of the statements that he's made in the past have been, proven to be correct. So I'm going to look for them though, because obviously we don't know till we know, right? But I will say this: don't immediately dismiss the statement. Try to be objective with it, and really try to work through it, right? Because if I find a receipt and what he's sharing is accurate, then what? So instead of immediately dismissing it, let's walk through it, because if there's truth here, then we need to unpack it. So it's triggering. Even as I'm listening to it, I go, wow, that's tough to hear. And it's even hard to have someone say. I'm listening to it like, yikes. But at the same time, if there's truth there, then let's actually have a real honest conversation and everybody be objective about it, right? Because that's the whole reason why we're here. So I'll reserve what I'm gonna say until after. I want to look for these stats.
Okay, that makes sense. Vince, Janice, got anything you want to say?
I understand what Chloe said not to do, but he triggered me just by throwing out stats that I doubt the CDC or the jail is like, oh, who raised you, your mama or your daddy? Like, I doubt that's on the paperwork when you go into jail and prison, right? So that just bothers me that when people throw out stats and they're just trying to trigger people, that annoys me with triggering. Trigger words, trigger things just bother me. And then you're right, Chloe, I shut down a little bit. If you don't piss me off, right? And then I don't know, statistically, because he's saying moms raise this and parents raise this. I mean, our boys, if you look at statistically, no offense to men, y'all numbers of homicide, rape, murder, domestic violence, it don't matter, make a difference they raised by their mom and their daddy. Men still do the same doggone thing. So I know that has nothing to do with the topic, but men are men.
Okay, go and get it off your chest then. Go and get it off your chest.
I'm just saying, statistically, it don't make a difference if y'all got a mom or a daddy. I think half the killers that shoot up the high schools now, back in the day, used to be like, oh, well, they didn't have a mom, they didn't have a dad. No, they come from good homes, educated homes. It just doesn't, I don't think it makes a difference sometimes for men if they're going to, it makes a difference for all of us. I guess our environment does make a difference, right? I'm not going to say it doesn't, right? But a lot of times I think men are just men. That's just me.
Okay. All right. You want to, let me get a couple comments, then I'm going to slide to Vince. Let's see. Shantae said, Quay, tell everybody how Vince said, leave your feelings at home. Now, you know what, Shantae, I'm glad Vince said that, right? Because typically what can happen is we will or contend to miss the value. Because at the end of the day, things can trigger emotion, right? But we will miss the value if we get caught up, if you will, right? So I think, coming into these types of conversations, and like I said, and don't get me wrong, you're not wrong to have a reaction or emotional response to, seeing something or hearing something. I ain't mad at that. I just think within conversations, when the focus is trying to move the needle or move in a more positive direction, some of that stuff you gotta put it on the back burner, so you can handle that biz and come out where you need to or get to where you need to get. So I'll just say that. Let's see, Donovan said you got to see what pool where these stats pull from. No, that's true as well. Donovan. Let's see. I know Chloe's looking for some of that stuff right now just to validate what he's saying. But like I said, we wanted to use the video for the conversation starter and some context. Let's see, Donovan also said today's stats do have a lot of propaganda influence. That's valid as well. With that being said, though, some of those stats are accurate. And we got to acknowledge that, even though we may not want to, right? Let's see. Shantae said, I told y'all it was triggering.
Yeah, it triggered
Yeah.
me too much.
Yeah, I saw you on the post, Shantae. I saw you on the post earlier. Let's see. Remy said, I've been on both sides, single mother or boys. Let's see, single mother of boys, and now a wife. So I have a lot to say. Now, we should have had Remy up on the panel up on here, but I'm gonna let her do it. I'm gonna let her do what she do. All right, let me go to Vince. I know you's up next, Vince. You want to say anything, brother?
Yeah, I like to say, when we have these conversations, we have to come from a view of honesty, accountability, and transparency.
Right.
I remember when we talked about this topic last time, I said you probably need to change the title of it just to smooth it out a little bit. Now, I can say there's many reasons why a person is a single parent. And I've lived my life and I've been both. I've been a baby daddy and I've been a husband. There is a difference. There is a difference. Now, I will say our boys need their fathers every single day. I've been both. And it's a glaring difference. It's a night and day difference. And I think because we come from a society where fathers are not valued, men are not valued. And to be totally transparent, I didn't see my own value. I often tell the situation when I've for those who don't know, I don't mind telling my story. I was a teenage parent, met my baby's mom when I was 14. We had a child at 17. That was my daughter. Broke up, got back together, broke up, got back together. She got pregnant. We got married, shotgun wedding, had my son. So my daughter was born out of wedlock, my son was born in wedlock. Long story short, my daughter went off to college. They're 5 years apart. I knew that my ex-wife was having some challenges with my son as far as trying to raise him by herself. So I said, you know what? Why don't you let him come live with me? You know, they were out of town. I had more family here. I had more help here. I was able to financially provide better. Even though I was paying child support, I was still able to. And he said, well, Dad, you know, I really don't want to leave Mom and my friends are here. And, you know, and I said, well, you know what? I'm a good dad. I see him on the weekends and they're here during the summer and, you know, we're close. But when he got grown, I seen things he just didn't get because I was not around. Things that men need.
Thanks.
He looks at the world through the eyes of his mother because that's who predominantly raised him. I was the fun dad, the weekend dad, let's go to Cedar Point dad, let's go to Disney World dad. I wasn't the dad when he came home crying because he had braces. I wasn't the dad to make him go out there and shovel the snow and pick up the leaves and be able to handle his emotions as a man. He views the world and comes to the world with the eyes of a woman, and that hurts him. And we've had many discussions about it now. And I see the difference that men need to be in their children's lives. So what we need to do as parents, because we've made our decisions, we need to teach our children to make better decisions. I tell my kids, sex is for grown people. Sex is for grown people because sex produces children. And I'm going to be honest with you, ladies. A man loves you. You love the children. A man bonds with the woman bonds with the child. So your best bet is to get you a husband. I know we don't want to talk about it and marriage don't mean anything, but men are better fathers when they're husbands. And yes, I think especially our boys, women that's a little different because they have certain things that we don't understand. But I say our boys need to be with their fathers. After they get off the titty, send them to their daddy. And I always hear women say, "Oh, well, he'll leave him on the corner." Well, that says more about you than it says about him because you had a baby with him.
That's valid.
So there's accountability to go around, but we have to be honest too. So many of our children are not conceived in love, they're conceived in sex. And a lot of women say, "Oh, well, he won't be able to raise a child." He'll do about the same as you do. He'll have his mama helping him and his auntie, and he'll struggle like everybody else struggles. But he'll have the eyes of a man. And if you say, "Well, I can't trust him with my child," then maybe we need to make better decisions on who we have kids with.
I have a quick question for Vince.
Sure.
Go ahead, Johnny's.
Vince, I'm just asking about the history of you. Because I know you said you were young, which I don't think young really plays a part sometimes in getting married. There's people that get married at young age and they still work. But was your background, were you also raised majority by a single mother?
I was raised by a single mom. My father died when I was 1.
Okay.
That's why I said there is a difference of single parenting. You know, you might be a widow, might get married and divorced, but over 70% of our children, let's just be honest, these kids are not planned for. These kids are just coming up by some sex. 70% of them. If we were honest, let's just be honest. That's what we need to do. These kids are being conceived out of sex. They're not being conceived out of love. They're not being conceived out of real commitment. It's people running around now. It's like you go to the barbecue and a woman just pregnant. You ain't met no boyfriend. You are like, how y'all having these babies? What? You getting pregnant by yourself? These men are coming up with kids. 2, 3, 4 kids, 3, 4 different mamas. So there's accountability on the man's part too. I'm not putting it all on the woman. There's accountability going around, all the way around. So I know this topic is triggering, but if you statistically, if you look in the prisons, most of those men were not raised with both parents in the home. That's the statistic. It is what it is. When I go out to the schools in better neighborhoods, I see both parents. If I go to the worst school in Detroit, I see a bunch of women and their kids. I mean, let's just be honest.
Well, Vince, how do you think your mother did? In a sense, do you think you would have been different? I mean, of course, you're gonna be different if you had a mom and a dad. But as her raising you as a single mother, do you think you picked on like a lot of her? I mean, women, we can be more emotional. We have a lot more emotions than men. Do you think you picked on, like when you was younger, you kind of were you a more emotional man because of her behaviors?
I'm still more of an emotional man. But my mother did the best that she could. She was my mother, me and my mother talked. My mother got married to my dad because she was pregnant. And back then, that's what you did. My daddy was a dope fiend, a heroin addict, and he died. He got shot in the head. Says it on his death certificate. So she has a lot of trauma with that. She had a lot of trauma with that. And having to raise me with, he didn't even work long enough to get Social Security. No life insurance. But the one thing that she did that my grandparents, my father's parents, were great. They stepped in and they helped. But that's because they come from family. They came from marriages where it was no talk of divorce. Men understood I need to be here with my kids.
That's real.
You know, a lot of things I didn't. A lot of things I had to. I think I was a lot more promiscuous because I didn't have a father. I think I put my value on the fact that I was good looking and I can get girls, not on the value of what I can provide and what I can protect and my purpose. I was cute. I had the girls, and that's what got me a child at 17.
No, that's real. That's real, man. That's real. That's real. Let me get some of these comments, and we're gonna get back into this. I got some questions myself. Let's see. Let me go back to where it started. Let's see. Shantae said, unfortunately, mothers tend to raise their daughters and love their sons. Then the trickle down effect comes. Yeah, no, that's real. See, Donovan said, let's see, better choices are made when accountability and consequences are a part of child rearing. Yeah, you know what, Donovan? I agree with that. I definitely agree with that. Let's say we have definitely removed a lot of the consequences around these things. We've removed shame for that matter. Yeah, so a lot of these things is just, it's just out here now, but there's no repercussions, if you will, to some of the actions. So I agree with this comment, and I know we definitely need some change around that space. That's for sure. Let's see. Shantae said, let's see. Wait, if the woman bonds to the kids, then why do they use children as a trap? I can't answer that one, Shantae.
I don't particularly think that works anymore.
Like trapping a man? Is that what she's saying? Because I can't tell what she's saying. Janice, can you tell if that's what she's saying with this comment?
I mean, I don't know if she's saying like men being reckless with their sperm. Is that what? Like, that's what I'm thinking. Like, and them just having babies, which does.
I think she's saying that
a woman.
Women are getting pregnant to keep a man, but I don't think that works anymore.
Oh yeah, no, okay. So if that's what she's saying, then yeah, no, I agree with that. That definitely doesn't work like it. Yeah. So if that's what she's saying, let's say, Shantae, Claire, let us know if that's what you were trying to say with that point. Yeah, we was trying to figure that thing out. All right, let's see. Lavelle said, let's see, both should, especially when a large segment of households are near and under the poverty line. Unless one person makes enough to have a comfortable household, which could be a mom, because a lot of women are more focused and developed in college and got into great careers in an early age than the men. Okay, I get what you're saying. Also, the rate of inflation has greatly outweighed the income rate. So the structure that our grandparents and some of our parents have isn't as possible nor as stable as it ought to be. So, Lavelle, let me disagree with you on this, brother. Let me disagree with you on this. I do think that, and this is my personal, perspective. I do think essentially that the single household or the single salary household definitely is possible and it can be stable. But I think the problem is a lot of us don't want to adjust our lifestyles.
Oh, that's it. We don't want to adjust our lifestyle.
Yeah, yes. We're not willing to make that change because we want to continue to drive our Mercedes and our BMWs and buy our Louis bags and our, Gucci bags and all of this stuff. So we're not willing to make those concessions to be stable in the household, and basically live with some type of structure that's not filled with all this material nonsense that really gets us nowhere anyway. Just keep us broke. So I'm gonna slightly disagree with you on that, but I know what you're saying, man. I know what you're saying there. In 12th grade, and we are still together. Let's see, 96. I was raised by a single grandmother. I saw my mom get killed at 5 years old, and my dad passed at 15. Man, a lot going on in that situation right there. Definitely sorry to hear that, Ray. Let's see. Shantae said, because Vince was saying the woman bonds to kids, and the man bonds to the woman. But you know what, Shantae? I guess just based on what you're saying here, then I would question that. I could see then why a woman would use a kid as a trap. because she is bonded to the kid. Because, you know, I've heard young ladies say things like, you know, your babies, you know, they love you unconditionally and this, you know, things like that. So I could see her bonding to those kids and then using those kids essentially as leverage with that man to try to control that man or get that man to do what she wants him to do. But to Vince's point, that's not working as effectively as it used to. But I definitely have seen stories and heard of that happening. Kids being used as leverage, you know, towards the man or the baby father, if you will. Let's see.
Now,
Shantae also, go ahead, Vince.
Now, the reason why I would say that is because when a man is committed and loves a woman, and this is my experience, my own anecdotal experience, he loves the child because the child is an extension of the love that he has for the mother.
Facts.
I think so many men can walk away from these kids because they never really loved the mother.
Facts.
And because the child is growing inside the mother is automatically attached. The father doesn't get any of that, especially if he's not in the home. That's why some women, and let's just keep it real, keep it honest as I do, a woman can be thinking about an abortion before that child starts moving. But by the time she's 1, 2, 3 months, after she starts to feel that child, after she starts to bond with that child, her mind changes because she's bonding with that child. Yeah. The man don't really care. He don't care if you have an abortion in 5 or 6 months. He ain't bonding to that child. And he ain't even around for you. So that's what I mean by that. When a man loves a woman, he's usually a better father. Now, I know there are certain circumstances, but a man who loves a woman is going to love that child because the child is an extension of that woman. That's why I think we have so many men that are not attached to their children because they're not attached to the woman.
Facts.
It's just sex. It's just a hand. And
Right.
then women say, well, he should be a good. No, it doesn't work that way. Men don't work that way. So that's more of the thing that I was saying, is that men are attached to the women and women are attached to the kids.
Yeah, no, I agree with that, man. And this the other piece I'll add to that is, in addition, at some point, possibly that woman has disrespected that man. Yeah, because at the end of the day, I don't understand if a lot of ladies understand how high regard men hold respect. So there also can be situations where you've disrespected that father of those children, and he's took that to heart, and now he don't want to have nothing to do with you, regardless if it's a kid involved or not. So that happens as well. So just keep that in mind. You want to say something, Chloe?
Yeah. So I'm gonna get back engaged in the conversation, guys. But I was able to find a statistic about the effects of single mother households. Obviously, it's a lot easier to find those statistics because it's just more common, right, guys? So I was able to find those a bit quicker. I'm still looking for the statistic that he claimed about single fathers, right? But what I could find was 70% of gang members, high school dropouts, teen suicides, teen pregnancies, and teen substance abusers come from single mother homes. And this particular statistic came from the U.S. Census Bureau. So it's a credible source. It's not just somebody somewhere, Pookie, that just decided they was going to put a Wikipedia page together. I mean, I can definitely add that in the comments or whatever y'all want to see it. It's fine. I'm still looking for the statistics for fathers because that definitely was an interesting statistic. It did sound high. That what did he say? Something like 90%. It did sound high, right? But then we have to remember that the percentage of single fathers, from what I'm seeing, is just so much lower, obviously. So we have to take that take that with a grain of salt, guys. Like for real. Everything that we see here, take it with a grain of salt. But I think for me, I don't even know if having for me personally, like I don't even know if I even would come from the perspective of it's better for a single father to raise a child more so than a single mother. Um, I think I agree with Vince and his point that when a young man does reach a certain age, I do think it's beneficial for him to be with his father. I think that there are just some certain things that he can gain from being with his father, and I think that that's valid to me. I don't know about taking the kids away or that type of dynamic, but I can see the value in having you know, a young man being raised by his dad. And I can see the value in having a daughter have that experience with her mother because there's just some things that mom needs to instill in her and pass down to her that a man will struggle to be able to do that. Obviously, either way, is it impossible? No, because this is the situation we're actually dealing with in the current worldview. Like there are single mothers raising young boys and young girls. So obviously it can be done. I think ultimately we know that the best option is for us to figure out how to keep our families together and how to stay in the home together because we shouldn't have to have these types of conversations. But this is the society we live in. I think for me, what I would rather, me personally, I'd rather be the voice that says, let's look at the issue, right? And let's try to talk about the solutions. Denying that it's an issue is not going to help us. Being overly emotional about it is not going to help us. And I have been paying a lot more attention to how we move as women. And I say we because I'm putting myself in that. I have been paying a lot more attention to how we move as women. And this is just my personal observation. This ain't got nothing to do with trying to impress a man or pick me. And all that stuff is foolish to me. It's goofy. I'm too old for that. When I say this, it's because I actually have been watching the people in my community. So when I come on here to speak to you guys, I'm not just saying something just to say it because somebody else said it or it sounds nice. Like, as women, I have been noticing when women are in power, when women have control over any kind of situation, because I've been observing how we act in any sort of leadership situation or when we have any kind of power or control over anything. And I must say, I'm disappointed. I constantly see women respond emotionally. I constantly see, especially when it's women having to interact with men and young boys. I just had to go to a meeting for my son at his school. And the vice president over there is an African-American female. And she said some stuff that was so unprofessional. And I wish I could just say it's just her, right? Oh, it's just her. But the truth of the matter is I've been seeing these incidents happen so much more frequently. This may be the reason why people are saying, Black women, you don't need these boys in your house. They're not your man, and it's not their fault. Some of y'all are walking around angry. You are walking around unhealed. And then when somebody says to you, sis, this is a problem, like for real, not trying to dog you, this is really a problem for real. Like you gotta go address it. The first thing some of us are doing is we put a wall up. We don't want to hear it. We overly emotional. We trigger. And I can say this myself. I can literally say this because some of the stuff that I've been seeing has been triggering me. I'm a woman. I'm not outside of my emotions. I get affected by things too. But that doesn't make it untrue. And it doesn't make it a real issue that we have to address. We don't want to be held accountable for anything. You can look at that statistic and okay, yeah, obviously it's going to be a higher number for women because more of us are single mothers. We get it. So it looks horrible. But even if we just sit to the side, the fact that, yeah, it's going to look higher, right? It just is because it's more of us. That's horrible. Sit in that. Let's try to figure out why that's like that. Sit in it. Stop trying to avoid it. Stop trying to push it away. Sit in that. That's us. That's us. We did that. And I'm at the point where I'm like, ladies, it's not going to get better until we can at least acknowledge that it's real. It's really a problem. I'm over here trying to show y'all statistics so y'all will believe it. Okay, there you go. Now what? What do we do now? How do we move forward? Because we had these kids. We brought them here. We're failing them. Us. Period. And I'm talking to the ladies right now. That doesn't mean that the men over here get off scot-free, like they don't have no kind of accountability in this, because that's a cap. The kids wouldn't be here without them.
Facts.
So they need to get some of this too.
No doubt.
But ladies, we got to stop acting like we just out here and our shit don't stink. Like for real. We got to stop doing that. It's not doing our kids no good. You know, like I mean, for real, like y'all, this if I sit back and just start talking about some of the stuff I've been observing, because I've been watching us on purpose. That's one thing that having a platform like this does. If I'm gonna be real with y'all, then I gotta really know what I'm talking about. I just can't come up here and just say a bunch of stuff. So I've been watching. When I get to go out in public now, I pay real close attention. And it's a lot of stuff I'm seeing out here. And then when people come on these podcasts, y'all want to say, well, why are we talking about this? Well, why are we talking about this? Because it's a problem. And y'all would much rather bury it and dig, you know, like, hey, let me just put my head down and keep grinding. Meanwhile, how are we leaving the generations after us? How are we leaving them? What are we leaving them? Is this what we want to do? We want to hand them this boo-boo? Here you go. Like, it is up to us to try to figure this out, because we have to get like this. And so I'm going to land my plane, but y'all, come on. The first thing we did, and I'm not pointing at nobody, and I'm not putting this on nobody, because so many women was triggered. We posted Quay posted a post the other day about Black men being enough. And ladies was triggered. Yet, all we talk about is what Black men don't do. Black men gonna be Black men. But then y'all don't think it's not a lot of propaganda out here about how Black men ain't enough? Let's talk about it. It's real. It's a real problem. And until we actually start really addressing it for what it is. Look, 2023 for me is the year of, just say that. Just say you don't care about nothing else but what you want and what's going on in your life. Just say that. So we can move on. So we can move around you. We're going to move right around you. Because some of us want to progress. We want to move forward. And in order to do that, we got to actually have these conversations. Why is this podcast important? Why are we doing it? Because we're trying to move us forward positively. That's why we're doing it. Not because, you know, somebody getting a check. Anybody getting no check? This is service at this point. So, I mean, I think, you know, like, until y'all want to be real and have the real conversations, you know, then, you know, this is what it is. It is what it is. And our kids just going to be screwed.
That's real. Go ahead, Janice. Then I'm going to go to Vince. Go ahead, Janice.
I was going to say, I understand, like, my reality is a little different being in Arlington and DC. And so some of the things Chloe may see is different from, like, my life at the Pentagon. And how the women bosses, they move a lot differently, but hence a lot of them are majority white, you know, so white with husbands and, you know, so they're going to move a little differently. But I would say, so I don't deal with all the attitudes and all that stuff on every day. I don't deal with that on the regular. So I really don't know what goes on in those type of areas anymore. I will say that. And most of my friends now are super professional. So they don't really deal with that life anymore either. But I would say the solution is just for me, like I have a friend who she's having like some issues with her son and he's becoming a teenager. And I was like, hey, you probably need to get married, you know, like you need to get, he probably wants a father in his life, you know, and that's just what I said to her. Like he needs a man at this point, you know, she's acting out and she's going off on him all day and she's being like super emotional. And I'm like, he's tired of you. He needs a man in the house. He's in the house with your mama, you, and your daughter. So now the cycle just gonna continue because you probably ain't gonna get married either again now. And he has to deal with that crap all day long. So I am a single parent now, but I was married for 10 years. So I got married. I would say it was more for my son. I needed a man in the house with my son. And I was very like intentional on how I moved, you know? So even now that we're divorced, that ex-husband, guess what? That's still in his eyes, that's his son. He still come get him. He still call him every morning. And that can be what Vince is saying, because he loved me so much. Now my son, my biological son, which is not his biological son, to him, you can never tell him any different. That is his son to the day he dies. So I'm just saying, I do agree with the aspect of Vince. And I do agree with you, Chloe. Like, I think the key is you just tell your friends. Like I tell my friend, you need to get you a husband because he's tired of you. He doesn't want to hear women fuss all day long. That's all he hear from y'all. He's tired of it. And then he gonna grow up to be probably a nagger himself. And then the next one, it's just a continuous cycle.
So, okay. So just based on what you just said, Janice, so there is some validity to this. Like there's some validity. Listen, I'm gonna circle back. Because I'm gonna have to run that video back. And we're gonna have to take that piece by piece. I'm gonna run that back, but
the video was never my issue. The video there, I can believe those, but don't just throw out numbers. That's where you get me. I'm a factual person, so when you start just throwing out random numbers, if he would have just said, you know, majority or something like that, I'd be like, yeah, I understand. But I get caught up on facts. That's just how my mind works. But I think there is probably, you think how gangs started, even in what was that, Compton, the history of it? It started because it was kids looking for fathers, and they created this little group, and then it wasn't a gang, it was called something else, and then it became a gang. You know, it was the people looking for fathers. Right. So it makes sense.
Okay. All right. Yeah, I might circle that back, but no, you guys, I see you're right about that piece right there. You want to say something, Vince?
Yeah, I want to say something about what Janice just said. I think that's a problem too, because now she need a husband. But what does that husband get? It's not his own. And
a lot of nagging.
Give him a bunch of challenges and a bunch of problems. I am a stepfather. It's challenging. And the only way it works is because she gives me the respect, because I am the man of my house. And just like I can cuss my biological son out, I can cuss her kids out. But that's not how it usually is.
Right.
Because, you can't say nothing to my son. The son ain't going to respect him. Son ain't going to respect him. He got to go in there. Oh, I can't really say nothing. You know how many men I talk to that can't even say nothing in their own house? I'm like, what are you doing? They can't even say nothing in their own house to these teenagers. No, this is what we need to do. We need to switch it around. The men need to be custodial parents of their sons when they are 5 years old. Don't wait till they're 14.
That wouldn't happen in my house.
Don't wait. Hold on a second. Let me finish though. Because by the time they're teenagers, it's too late. Because what usually happens is they go over to their father, and their father is on their head, and then they go crying back to their mama. Mama, I want to come home, and the mama let them come back home. That's what happens most of the time. Am I keeping it real or not? That's what happens most of the time. They wait till they get tired of the boy, or they can't control him, or he too big to smack him around. Then they give them to their daddies after it's already too late.
Facts,
So no,
facts.
she don't need a husband. She needs to find his daddy.
He's
Well, that's what she chose, and that's what I'm talking about. That's what she chose. We got to make better decisions. We got to equip our kids with the decisions that need to be made. And my wife just texted me, I need to calm down a little bit. My baby's sleep. But this is what we need. We need to make better decisions when we having these babies. Because it really look bad that a woman will say, "Oh, I couldn't. I couldn't leave him with it." Well, why you have a baby with him then? If he can't raise his kids, then why did you have a baby with him?
I mean, I think it's all situational. Mine.
No. What's the situation? Let me say something.
For me, it's situational because I was raised. Hold on, boo. I was raised by a mama and a daddy. Great mom, great dad, educated, great parents. You couldn't tell me nothing about my mom and dad. He was raised by a daddy that wasn't there on crack and heroin, and then his mama died at like the age of 5. So right then and there, he's living in projects, all that. I'm not about to send my son to that when I have the foundation. I have the foundation of good parenting. So I understand what you're saying, but I think sometimes it can be situational. He doesn't have that foundation. He's not about to take my child and throw him in the projects with him. He's still stuck in that project. No, we good. We'll stay over here.
I understand what you're saying, Janice. And let's take this away from me. Let's take this away from me and you.
There we go.
The problem is that we live in 2023. We don't live in 1940s where we didn't know about birth control. We know if you're having sex unprotected, you can get pregnant. Now, please don't say because that's a very small percentage of people that get pregnant on birth control. So we're not gonna say that. Most of these people out here raw dogging. Let's just keep it real. We all done been there. Oh, baby, we get it started. Then 10, 20 minutes in, then you throw it on the condom. Oh, this, but you already done pre-came.
We're going that long. Go ahead, Vince. Stuff.
My thing is, we gotta make better decisions with the people that we have children with, and that's what I'm teaching my kids. Because we already did what we did. I'm teaching my daughter that ask questions. Ask questions. Who's your daddy? Who's your mama? What you want out of life before you have sex with them? That's our issues. And my thing with that is that I don't even, because most of the people, these kids ain't want it anyway. So personally, I think if a man got a child, he gonna struggle just like a woman struggle. There ain't nothing planned for. Give him to his daddy. He'll figure it out. He'll be better with him. And let's see how it works. Let's just see how it works for the next 30 years that men are the predominantly custodial parents of boys. Let's just see how it works. It can't get no worse. The very men y'all complain about is the men that was raised by these women. The ones that are not protecting, that are not providing. Most of them were raised by women. Most of them.
I would say statistically, like if you go off what Chloe says, a man shouldn't do it by himself and a woman shouldn't do it by herself. Right. If you look at the whole statistic of it, I don't think a man should just be like, I can have the sons. I mean, I don't think that's gonna work in American society. I mean, it's just not. It doesn't make a difference if a man has that child by himself or a woman. He's gonna have some kind of deficiency.
And so is a woman.
Exactly. My thing
is
gonna be some kind of deficiency. If he raised by that daddy, he probably gonna be some kind of jerk, have a big old ego, and stuff like that. Yeah, I said it. Wow. And if he raised by a woman, he might be too.
Wow. Now we get the truth, Quay.
I heard it.
I missed it.
Ain't no way, boy.
Mm-hmm. I heard it.
Dang, I missed it.
Dang, Janice, you done got honest on here.
I'm just saying there's going to be some kind of deficiency. I don't think a boy going to live with his dad and then it's still going to be, he's going to be deficient somewhere. Okay.
Okay, wait. Hold on. So how are we gonna say that we
I
seeing
said both.
No, I understand. So that's the ideal situation, right? But that's not the ideal decision that we're making out here these days. See, that's the problem. So I agree with you. I agree that both parents in the household is the best decision, but that's not the one we making. Yeah, we out here having kids in the one parent household. We not doing the two thing. You know, we not doing the two parent thing. We're not doing the let me get married first before I had a kid thing. Like we not doing that. We doing it the other way around. So see, now I gotta ask the question. You know, when you saying that the fellas, if the fellas got the sons, it's gonna be a deficiency. Well,
I said both.
no, but what I'm saying is if the fellas have the sons, and essentially the son is still gonna end up with a deficiency. I mean, what is he ending up with now?
A deficiency.
So then what's okay? So then what is? I guess
So,
what is?
Is it worse then? I mean, so okay, so
I think it's a worse. So I don't think it's a worse. I don't think it's the worst thing. I don't think.
Well. Let's look at this. Some of the statistics I've been looking at have said that financially, you know, single parent house homes where there is the father, obviously they fare out better because single mothers just tend to be in poverty. But I will say this, and that's just one piece of the statistics that I am actually seeing about fathers raising parents in single parent homes. But I will say this, if we're saying that boys end up with a deficiency, right? Even when they're raised by their fathers, okay? So, but we've also established that there are certain things that a man can pour into his son that a woman cannot pour into his son. So if we're saying that even when you drop this boy into an environment with his father, right, he still ends up with a deficiency. I don't disagree with you. So then that means that if he's raised by a single mother, then wouldn't that prove some of his statistics correct? That he's going to fare out worse because even the pouring out of the father's wisdom or knowledge or just teaching them and showing them exampling how to be a man is missing. So now wouldn't that make him even more deficient because he doesn't even have that piece. So he's already going to have a deficiency, but at least he has his father there to pull some of these traits from it, characteristics and things that a man needs to pour into a young man that's growing, right? But you take that away, doesn't that make him even more deficient because now he doesn't have any of that? He doesn't have any.
I don't know because you got the nurturing aspect of a woman that a man can never.
Well, no, hold on,
what I'm saying. I don't know what you can't. I can't say worse and worse.
Baby.
I just can't.
You just did.
No, I didn't. No, I didn't.
Let me flow for a minute. You just did.
Not at all.
You just made the estimation that regardless of where he goes, he's going to be deficient, right? Yeah. So if you can say that, then we making estimates, right? Because how do we know for sure, right? So let's go ahead and follow that estimate, even though we have stats. Let's just go ahead and follow the estimation that you just made. So if a young man, doesn't have the pouring of, masculine traits and characteristics and the building up of his manhood from his father that he would typically get from even a male role model. Let's just say that regardless. If he does not have that, right? Because he can't get that from his mom. That's stuff he just can't get from his mom. She can teach him a lot of things, but she cannot teach him how to be a man from a male perspective, which is what men really need, right? So then we have to estimate, just like we've been doing all show, we have to then estimate that he is going to end up with more of a deficiency because with his mom, and this is not to discredit a mom, it's just facts. Like with his mom, there's certain things she cannot give him as a young man. She just can't. She don't have them. So that means that if he's with her, then he's going to end up with more than just some type of deficiency. As a man, he's going to be deficient because the things that he needs as a man, he won't have potentially.
I just said deficient. I didn't think you
Here she go. Let me go. Let me go. Hold on, Vince. Let me circle the.
Like, I don't know what you want me to tell you, Chloe.
Let me circle the CC real quick. Let me
Like,
circle
I'm
the
a
CC.
Leo. We stick to what we said.
Can you hear me?
Let me circle the CC since she just hopped on. What's going on, CC?
Hey,
How you doing?
after
You all right?
all that, I don't even know what to say after all of that. But
Hold on. I know you want to say something. I see that look on your face. What you feeling about this topic? How you what you think? What you saying?
well, they saying about a mother being a single parent. I was raised by a single parent with 3 brothers. All my brothers came out well. They, my oldest brother went to the Marines. Then he's some type of supervisor in the post office, and he never stopped being a Marine. He still goes to, what is that, every weekend thing or whatever, and way past the time.
Drill?
What is it called?
Is it drill? Does he still drill?
No, it's not drills.
Like
I can't
nerves or
remember.
something?
Maybe close to that. I don't know,
Okay.
but he's been doing it his whole life.
I got you.
And my other brother is a minister, and he did environmental something. I can't remember.
Environmental science?
Yes.
Okay.
And my youngest brother is a lawyer. So they all came out well. But one day when my brother was having his 30-year birthday party or something, he mentioned that it was days he didn't know what to do as a man because he didn't have enough insurance. And
Hey,
I
mute for a
never
second. Sorry,
realized.
CC. Mute for a second, Janice. I think it's Janice. Go ahead, CC.
And I never thought that he was going through all that. I never thought that he was missing out things that a father would give. But I know me as the daughter, I always wanted a father. I always wanted one my whole life. And my mother had a friend that I consider my father, but he wasn't my father, And my mother didn't date a whole lot. So I didn't have to go through this man, and this man. It was the same person the whole time. But it is a difference not having a father in the home. It's something that I really knew I was missing. But then when I go over some of my friends' house, and they had a 2-parent family, but they didn't really like their dad, or he was a jerk, or he was a drunk, or he was a womanizer. So I didn't really feel bad no more because, I'm like, I don't want that either, but yeah, it is better to have 2 parents in the home, period, but like when one thing I can say, when my daughter was going to that private school, Country Day, you know how when you in high school, you just all about you because you're growing up. One thing that I noticed when they were there, they never talked about having a baby. Nobody. But in the public schools, that's all they wanted to do. They was having group babies. Remember that? They was having babies at the same time. They never talked about having a baby. So I thought, that's a good thing. Some things we just can't get out of, our kids. You can't have them wherever you want them to. But I thought that was pretty good. That they didn't think of, they was doing whatever. But they weren't trying to have a baby.
Yeah. That's a good point. But that ties back to how important your environment that you're in, plays into what your future ends up looking like. So no, that's a good point. I'm glad you brought that up. You want to say something, Vince, man?
Yeah, I think that the what I'm saying is maybe being misconstrued. What I'm saying is this: just switch up the roles, and the father is the custodial parent, and the mother is the non-custodial parent. That doesn't mean that she doesn't have a part to play, just like the father has a part to play. Am I right or am I wrong? So that just goes to show that we just don't value fathers, because some women can't even imagine that
What
the
about Joy?
man
What about
is
Joy?
control. Wait a minute, the man is controlling how the son is being raised, how the son is being rendered, because we don't value, and then we always use this color purple. We use the worst. We don't ever use the best. We use the worst. Every time, oh, well, yeah, my granddaddy cheated on my mama and
Ooh,
had
child,
kids.
talk about
We
it.
always use the worst.
Oh, he was the
We
drunk and
always,
everything else.
when
Ooh,
it comes to black men, we always use the worst. But mama is God. You don't ever hear, oh, well grandmama, she got 5 kids, but one of them don't look like granddaddy, but he still stayed around. You'll never hear that story. It's always the black man
talk
that
about it
had
then.
kids and beat on his mama. But you'll never hear the other stories where black men really stayed with grandmama who had a child that wasn't his. You never talk about the vast majority of men who are taking care of somebody else's child.
And know
The
it.
vast majority, including your ex-husband.
I said joint. The issue is your vocabulary you're using. You going into the custodial and non-custodial. Just take the vocabulary away and say joint custody.
Well,
That's
most
right.
of, but no,
That's
what
like
I'm
joint
saying, but
custody.
that's not the same thing, because me and my ex-wife had joint custody, but she had the children most of the time.
But
So give the man the child. He takes him to school. You pick him up on the weekend. You pick him up when he can't. He has predominantly reign over that child, just like you got over your child.
I think
and
it's
he
what
fill
Donovan.
in.
Look at what Donovan said at 9:42.
9:42. So
Let's
that
pull
was right here.
Let's
Let's see.
pull that.
Donovan said, let's see. The solid self-sufficient child comes from a solid homestead by single or coupled parents.
What does that mean?
That word solid is a key word right there. Solid. I don't care what parent, this parent, the solid parent. If you got a crackhead daddy, you ain't about to send that child to the crackhead daddy or the crackhead.
Okay, hold on.
No, what I'm saying, it's solid, meaning the parent that's solid. CeCe's mother was solid. She was stable.
But even with all of that.
But Janice, let me say this. It doesn't matter if the mama still got the kid. It don't matter if she whatever she is, she still got the kid.
Solid.
Am I right? Am I wrong?
Solid. Donovan.
If she don't want to work and want to have a bunch of kids, she still got the kid. So my thing is, we see how our men are turning out. I'm about solutions. I'm not about I'm about solutions and the majority.
Thank you, Remy. That's the point.
If the daddy ain't solid and he ain't got his life together, I'm not sending no boy to no man.
But see, that's your opinion.
Hold on.
But Janice, what I'm saying is, yes, I understand these situations. So what we need to do is pick better people to have kids with.
Well, here's the thing, y'all. And I'm not trying to pick on. Yes, that's number one. But I'm not trying to pick on nobody. But come on, y'all. Like, we talking about the daddies. But the kids are ending up with mothers, and some of these mothers, y'all already know. We're not gonna act like that. We're talking about the father needs to be this way or he needs to be that way. He needs to be fit in this way. He needs to be fit in that way. But some of these mothers, you've come across them. At least all of y'all have at least come across one that you like, ooh, she shouldn't have no kids. She should not have a child. Like, who gave her? They let her leave a hospital with a baby. Like, she just should not have no kids. See, you laugh because you know it's true. You know you done came across some women that's like, oh, she should not have a child. Yeah. It's the truth. But we don't really have the same conversation about the fitness of the mother.
Oh, I agree.
We don't have that conversation. We talk about the men. Like, we don't have that conversation about some of these women are not fit. So I get what you're saying, and I don't disagree. I agree with Donovan 100%. If that parent, whether it's a mother or a father, is solid, then that child has better chances. But we not gonna act like that child still does not miss the presence of that other parent,
Right.
and that they don't in some way end up with something that they have to heal from or navigate because they didn't have that other parent, right? And going back to a point that was made earlier, we pedestalize our mothers. I did it.
Mm.
We all do it. We put our mothers on a pedestal. And it isn't, for me, it wasn't until I got older and I said, okay, my mom was awesome. Okay, like this woman, listen, y'all, because, you know, my day was true. But anyway, that's another story for another day. But she was awesome. I mean, she really, really was and is. I was as in raising me. She's still with us. Thank you, Lord. But yeah, she was awesome raising us. Like really, I must say, she was. But I pedestalized my mother. And now that I'm a mother, I'm like, oh, yeah. She was a woman just like I am, trying to figure it out, doing the very best that she knew how to do. Right? And some of them choices, they were great. And some of them, eh. But at the end of the day, we do that. We pedestalize our mothers. And even when our fathers are present, doing the very best that they can, we don't give them that same nod.
Yeah.
We do not. We don't. Because just like Vince said, Black fathers are not appreciated that way. And they are not seen as equally as important, when in fact they are. They are equally as important because what they bring to the table is the other half of what that child needs.
Yeah.
But because we pedestalize mothers, we don't understand that that other piece is just as vital as what we're bringing to the table, because we just don't have that conversation.
My daddy was great though, so I don't know.
Yeah, no, I don't. I want to get.
I want my dad to kind of above my mama growing up. I love my daddy.
Yeah.
You can't make
Like,
this
no,
shit up.
my dad was cool
You
too.
can't make
He
this
was
shit up.
good.
Y'all heard
He's perfect to me.
So,
But see, that's like I can't even understand what y'all just said. I was never like that, you know. I can't understand what you're saying, you know, that your dad was amazing or your dad was, I don't know that. That's something that's missing from me. And I thought my mother was everything, you know, because she was pretty, you know, she had it going on and she took care of us and all our lights was on, all our gas was on. We had food in the refrigerator. My mother dressed me sharp as I don't know what, and she made less money than her brothers. You know, she made less money than everybody seems like, but she had her stuff tight. And she always told me, don't worry about the name on the outside. Worry about the name in the inside of your clothes, because they better.
No, that's
And then I
real right
also
there.
think because it's just sad, because I think of my childhood. None of my friends had their biological father in the home.
Mm.
I can't remember. I'm talking about elementary, high school, everything, college.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe 5 out of hundreds. So you can't, there's this saying that you can't be what you don't see, but because the Black male is not in our communities, we don't value it as much as we do, because mamas go through the same thing. Mamas go through boyfriends. Mamas get put out. Mamas lose a job. Mamas have bad relationships. But we expect the daddy to be this solid person. When mama wasn't really, well, she wasn't really that solid.
Mm-hmm.
She struggled like most people struggle. But we feel like daddy can't do it though, because he might have a drinking problem. Okay, well, mama smoke weed.
Yeah,
Okay,
no,
well,
Vince.
he don't work. Well, mama don't work either. So my thing is, we have devalued these men, and I just say let's just try something different, because obviously what we're doing is not working. I hear more complaints from women about men. You don't hear very many complaints about men that quote unquote got it together trying to find a woman. That's not no issue. We find women because we got it together. But most of these women that got it together can't find a man that got it together. Because most of these men is like women, they trying to drive your car. They trying to come live with you. I even though my mother was a single mother, she didn't play none of that. I left the house when I was 17. Then I had a grandfather and an uncle that were both pastors and Christians. So I had a father figure, but you got to realize these kids now don't have no father figure. Granddaddy been dead, or did he have no granddaddy? Uncles is living with their girlfriends, so they'll have no positive role models. So my thing is, okay, let's give these boys while they're impressionable. Don't wait till they teenagers when they already been spoiled by their mamas. Because my thing, you talking the things that men need, a mother cannot give them.
Right.
Period. On a larger scale. That's all I'm saying. Let's try something different. But we also need to teach our kids to make better decisions with your body.
And they're still bucking you, Vince. They still bucking you. Ray Crib said not true, Vince. We'll leave it at that. We'll leave it at that. We'll
I
leave
didn't
it
say
at that.
nothing.
No, but I do want to ask this question, like I said, because I know Vince, he brought this point up earlier. Like I said, I've been over here taking notes. I do want to ask this question. This is a question to the ladies. I see we got a chunk of folks watching us right now. Do y'all truly value these men? Yeah, do you truly value the father of your children? Yeah, drop a comment. I just need to know that, because as we talking through this, that's kind of what it seems. That's kind of what it seems like, or how it seems that we don't value these guys. And this is partially why I made the post that I made. I guess I think that was yesterday or day before, whatever. I think it was yesterday. It's partially why I made the post about these men not being enough. I know a lot of ladies say or jumped on the post talking about where you hear that at, who's saying that. I ain't never heard that. What made you think that? Well, what made me think that is actions. Yeah, I watch people's actions. I'm very observant. I listen to what people say. And we see a lot of instances where we are literally representing that we don't value these men. So that's some of the origins of why I made that post, because that is what we are experiencing right now. We even, like I said, touching on some of the stuff in this conversation. Yes, Celeste, at the end of the day, do we really value these men? Yeah, do we even look at these men as worthy? You know, when Vince makes his point about, you know what I'm saying, passing the sons over to the fathers, you know, in that early age, I can almost feel some of the ladies in the comments squirreling up in the corner like, nah, that ain't happening. Why is that? Where is that coming from if that's what's best for the son? Yeah, so I got some questions. Let me try to get some of these comments. I see there's so many comments. I ain't been able to get all of these. Let's see. Remy said, can't make this up. Let's see. Ray Crib. Let's see. Yes, it happens, but not like that. Okay. Let's see. She said, good point, Vince, but not all the way right. You know what, Ray? Yeah, I think Ray she be trying to start some stuff. Let's see. Remy said, I value my father and my husband. Okay, there it is.
Yeah, read the
there it
next
is.
one. She said, I got some explaining to do.
But you know what though? Let me slide in right here, right quick.
Go ahead.
But you know what though? That's honesty and that's accountability.
Facts.
And that's why I married her. Because we
It
both
is.
had made mistakes. but the accountability to say, you know what, this is what I did. But we want to do something different. And I think that's where we need to get to. As a people, we got to do something different. And we got to go back, and this society has told us that tradition doesn't work. But I say that's a lie straight from the pit of hell.
Yeah.
Tradition has worked for Black people.
Amen.
Generational wealth. We still living, a lot of us are still living in grandmama's house. Living off. We always say this, but we hope for the older days. We wish for the older days. Most women want men like their grandfather, even though their grandfather might have cheated on their grandmama. They took care of grandmama. Grandmama got a house paid for. Grandmama didn't have to go to no nursing home because of what daddy did.
Yeah, but
So we
this
can
is this
shake
is
our head and all that. We
Are you
had more
talking-
businesses. We had more family. We had more this quote unquote generational wealth, which we ain't got now. All we got is a couple dollars.
That's
Because
it.
2 incomes are always better than one. Two
So we
people
basing it-
always better than one.
So based off of what you're saying, we basing it off of monetary value.
No, we're basing it off family.
No,
We're basing it off
no.
family.
Everything you said was monetary value. Because if I go back, let's say my grandmama, she stayed with my granddaddy. He had a whole family around the corner. We know.
So what's different than a baby?
What?
So what's
Guess
different
what?
than a baby daddy?
Guess what?
He got 3, 4 kids around the block.
Her mental
Right.
health was so bad because of that. Her
And
mental
it's not-
health was, and a lot of
So
women.
it's gotten better now.
Listen,
Women
no,
are
it
most
hasn't.
sadder now. They
Listen,
going on vacation by
Listen,
themselves.
what I'm saying is, let's not act. Don't just base it off monetary value. The women was still struggling mentally and in other ways.
Has it
A
gotten any
lot of
better,
ways.
Janice?
So it's better because she got a man that's going around the corner. But at least she got a house. Child, no.
But
I
what
know
y'all
you
got
did
now?
that.
But what y'all
It
got
doesn't
now
make
though?
no difference. It's the same man. It ain't changed.
But hold on a second,
The only
Janice.
difference is they go around that corner now and they just starting families at every corner now. That's the only difference now. That's the only difference. But what I'm saying, I get what you're saying.
Woo, child.
I'm saying if you look at the big picture, it might be better to have a house and this and this. But
Wait,
they
this
were
is-
I said a husband. I said a
No,
husband.
Absolutely
yes,
absurd.
but they were still
It's
going
better to
through
have a
stuff
husband.
psychologically, though.
This is absolutely
They were not
absurd.
happy.
Black men, save yourselves.
So y'all happier now?
It's not about
So
a
women,
black man.
hold on, Janice.
I don't
So
think
y'all
y'all
serious.
happier now being
I
alone
don't think
and
they
being
y'all
single?
serious.
It's a
Guess what?
difference.
hold on,
I'm
hold on, hold on, hold on,
single
hold on. We gotta go one at a time because we can't hear everybody. Let me
My
go
bad.
to go ahead, Vince. Go ahead,
I'm
Vince. I want you to
still
respond to
stuck on-
Janice.
This is my point here. This is my point here, Quay.
Go ahead.
So are y'all happier now? Because at least grandmama just dealt with granddaddy. But now these women dealing with 3, 4 different men coming to live with them over their kids. So it ain't like they leaving baby daddy and not doing nothing until the kids get grown. They still getting trauma. But
So
now you got a man
better.
that don't even really love your kids like that.
So we should just take what's better for women. Just take what y'all can get. Long as that man is providing, got you a home, taking care of them kids, you let that dude go on that street and bring you some stuff back.
No, what we
I didn't say that.
Based
I
off
didn't
what
say
Vince
that.
is saying, that is what he's saying.
No, I did not. That is not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is that it has not gotten better for black women. It's not like we live this in utopia. Black women are still the most sad. Our kids are more medicine than ever before. So it's not like you better now. Oh, well, I left my baby daddy because he was abusive. But then you go get a boyfriend that's abusive. 2 or 3 boyfriends that's abusive. So now
that
your
means
kids can't be with their daddy.
that
And
means
then they
there's
gotta
something
go through these
wrong.
dumb
That
boyfriends.
means there's something wrong with the men. If they all abusive like that, it's something wrong with them.
No, it's something wrong with who you pick.
Wait, let's
No,
see. Go ahead,
No,
CC.
that means that's already in them.
But my thing is, why you keep picking ass whoopers and abusers?
You don't get it. Oh, you're a man. Okay.
Well, you know what? I don't get it either. I don't get it either because this is crazy to me. This is how this conversation always goes. Let me just say this, and I'm not talking to the women directly on this panel, but y'all getting on my damn nerves. Y'all getting on my nerves. What I keep hearing is no accountability. Every chance we get, we flip it back on the men. Yet we still have not dealt with our own stuff. And y'all got me over here clapping. Get out. Like, y'all still have not dealt with your own stuff. It's always about the men. You know why grandma stayed? You know why she stayed?
She had no job.
She stayed. Let me finish.
What?
Let me.
She had no job. Where's she gonna go with 13
Let me
kids?
finish. One mic. Because I couldn't talk when y'all was speaking. So y'all gonna let me get this up off of me. This is absolutely absurd. She stayed because it was best for her kids overall in general. That's why she stayed. Because she realized what Black women don't realize, and I'm not going to talk about no other women because I don't care. What Black women don't realize is that at the end of the day, those children need the presence of their fathers. Period. We got statistics to show it. So grandmama stayed and sacrificed her own mental health because she was thinking about her children. Because at this point, she made her decisions, whether they were bad or good. Whether they were bad or good. She stayed. Period. And I know that this is a point because I know women who have done this. So I don't know. I'm not saying it's the only reason, y'all. Don't get lost in the sauce. I'm saying that this is one of the major reasons why she stayed. She stayed because it would make a better life for her kids overall in general. So she was willing at times to sacrifice her own happiness because she knew at the end of the day, she had brought them kids there. She knew at the end of the day that ultimately they were her responsibility. And unlike Black women today, that's all about self-care and self-love and selfish. She cared more about her kids because she had already made the decisions that she was going to make with her life. She had already made her bad choices. One of them was choosing granddaddy if that's how he got down. Yes, like Ben said, it does matter who you choose. Every man ain't out here doing that. So cut the crap. Every man ain't out here doing that. She chose him. And you're going to tell me that grandma didn't know before she chose him at no point, in no way, in none of the relationship that he was going to do that? That's a cap. But she stayed with him anyway because there was some benefit that grandma got out of that. There was a benefit and she stayed and she put up with it. Today, Black women are so much better, right? Because they're not going to deal. I'm not going to deal. I don't have to do. I'm not going to deal. Yet every other day, I'm on TikTok, I'm on YouTube, I'm on Instagram, I'm on Facebook. 45-year-old woman, I'm tired. I'm so tired. This I don't need a man culture. That mentality right there helped the degradation of our community. I'm not gonna put it all on Black women backs. That's wrong because that ain't true. But it certainly helped. It certainly helped. Yes, we were stronger as a community. We had a community when we had families. Black men and Black women did work. It did work. It worked, y'all. We got statistics to show that that structure worked. Just like we got the same statistics to show that what we're doing right now don't. We are failing our children, but that's okay. Self-love, self-care. Because see, I ain't gonna do it. Meanwhile, 70% of children in single mothers' homes are suiciding, getting sent to prison. It's like these we can't outrun these numbers. We can't outrun them, guys. We've been trying to outrun them. But this is the truth. That's why y'all got so triggered by what my man said. Even if his numbers about black fathers are off, okay, they off. But y'all triggered because y'all know it's truth there. And y'all don't want to live in the truth. Because then that means you got to change. Women in general are so selfish. We are so selfish. We developed a whole mindset because we're so selfish. Self-love, self-care. Do you really need a whole objective and a category just to love yourself? Y'all don't think that's a bit much? What you walking around talking about what you ain't gonna do? Yeah, you laid up and brought them kids here. And I'm not sitting up here. No, take that. Because black woman, if you don't want to get pregnant, you don't know how to get pregnant. It's too many different options for you to stay away from pregnancy. Before you even get to the point of murdering your child, you can always just not have one. So stop the cap. Stop the cap. You bring these kids here, then you talk about how you don't want to deal with the man you laid up with. Then you talk about how, oh, well, I can't deal with this, and I'm not going to take this, and I won't deal with that, and I won't do this, and I won't do that. What you won't do. I mean, this is crazy to me. We conflate the argument all the time. We find a way to run it right back and lay it in the black man's lap. But we will not own the fact that we are bringing those kids here. And a lot of times when we having babies with men, we don't have no intentions of staying with. None. We don't even like some of these guys. Some of these dudes was dick appointments. This is crazy to me. But then y'all want to run around telling some y'all don't need a man. Apparently somebody needed somebody at some point. I'm a land, but this is ridiculous. We're going to own it. We're going to own it. Own it. Or we're going to get left behind. They already getting on planes and going off and find, you know. Look, I got 2 boys. I contributed to the continuation of our community. I contributed. The problem is, I don't know at this point if I can recommend my black boys to marry a modern mindset black woman. I don't even know. I might be packing them up and sending them to Brazil or Dominican too. Because y'all are out of control. And I'm not going to tell my sons to deal with that foolishness. I won't, because I'm working too hard, myself and my husband. We working too hard to raise those boys right. We're making too many sacrifices so that they can have everything that they need to be whole human beings. And I'll be damned if I put them in the laps of these women walking around talking about how they don't need them. If you don't need them, you won't have them.
There it is. There it is. There it is. Well, man, we done crossed that 10 o'clock mark. We got to take some closing so we can get ready to get out of here. My apologies to everybody in the comments. I've been seeing all these comments come through. I can't get them all. I said this show went in for sure. But I said I think it was definitely a worthy conversation. I said I think we definitely got deep. And I said I'm gonna keep some of these points to my closing. But let me go around the panel real quick. I'm going to go to CC first. I'm going to go to Janice second. I'm going to go to Chloe third. I'm going to go to Vince fourth. CC, you want to say anything before we get out of here today?
I just want to apologize to Vince. Whatever I said. Whatever. You hit a nerve for real. And I could have went so many places. But I know what you mean. It was a good conversation. And like the subject today, it can go on and on and on too. But I just want to apologize.
Oh, it's all love. We just need to have. I mean, it's tough conversations. I mean, okay. and I'm by no means perfect. So, okay. None.
But yeah, let me say this though, CC. I appreciate you doing that. Because I said, once again, that takes a lot of effort for some folks to do. And that is just a prime example of what I think we're going to have to do to turn this thing around. Yeah, there needs to be some apologies between the men and the women. There needs to be some grace between the men and the women. There needs to be some redos between some of these men and some of these women. In some of these situations in these essentially broken relationships, if you will. So now I appreciate you doing that. Like I said, that's really what it looks like. Yeah, that's how we start. Let me go up to Janice. You got anything you want to say in closing, Janice, before we get out of here?
My like I say, everything's situational. From my personal experience, I had a great dad, I had a great mom, I had a great family foundation. I'm not angry at black men. I don't run around here mad at black men. Most black men don't even say I have an attitude. My mother wasn't like that. My daddy wasn't attitude-ish. I don't even do that with my kids. So for my life, it's a little different than what I might like feel when I get emotional. But I think some things can be true. Two things can be true at the same time. Both households do need a mother and a father. I believe that. As a woman, I understand what some grandparents went through and they dealt with and they stayed there for the kids. I'll be selfish. You ain't about to be running around the corner doing stuff. Just like me. He shouldn't. I mean, it's just everybody to each his own, you know? But I do believe both households need parents. And then I guess we never got a chance to understand the breakdown of the black family too. Like when you bring in the crack era and then all the men started going to jail, they got on crack, welfare came in. So it was a lot of things that ended up that a lot of black women are single parents. Not like it was just by choice in a sense, and maybe that behavior just kept in a cycle and it kept in a cycle. These men are having babies, they get out of jail and they don't really know how to like raise a child either now. So it's just a continual cycle, So I understand that women need to make more better choices than a man. If it was just that simple, I mean, I don't know. If it was just that simple.
Yeah. No, I feel you, Janice. I just think, to your point, though, I think that we have to acknowledge that currently we are not going about things the right way. And I think a lot of folks don't want to admit that, from the men and the women. Yeah, we're going about things the wrong way. And we're seeing the outcome right now. And, to your point, this stuff is a cycle, right? I was having a conversation earlier, because I said we saw the video. I said the young lady wanted to talk about it. We here to talk about it today, right? But we saw the video. And one of the points that he made was, I forgot what the percentage was in the video, but forget the percentage. Basically, he said that if the mom was a single mama, it was a high percentage that the daughter would be a single mom. Yep. And I just sat down and thought about that thing for a minute. Yep. And when you just start thinking about just the circle of people that on a personal level, if it be cousins, family members, friends of the family, whatever, like, I've seen that. Like, I know some right now. So like I said, I know he put some stats behind it. And like I said, we didn't get into the stats and all of that, but I'm just thinking about the concept, right? How many of us knows a mom who was a single mom and now her daughter's a single mom? Like, a lot of us probably can say we know that. We know somebody who was that exact situation. Yeah, but I know me personally, I definitely know a few. So like I said, I know sometimes these things are hard to hear, but this stuff is happening regardless of the stats, regardless of the numbers. Let's say, because I'm with you, Denise. I'm not with the fugazi numbers, right? Don't just be putting nothing on nothing. Like, you got to show me something, right? But if I remove the numbers and just think about the concept, then it's like some of this stuff is not as far off as it sounds, right? Even though it may bother you or it may trigger a reaction from you, when you sit down and think about some of the stuff, you're like, wait a minute. I know a couple cats in that scenario. Or, when he talks about, these guys have a higher chance of not going to jail if they was, raised by their fathers or had a substantial amount of time with their fathers. When I think about that for a minute, I'm like, dang, I know some people in that situation right now. So So yeah, I just want to put that out there because I said I think that is just a piece that it just confirms that, like I said, we got to go about doing some things differently. That's just really what it is. Yeah, we doing some things that's just off track. And like I said, we are seeing the outcome. Go ahead, Janice. Then I'm gonna slide over to Chloe.
I was gonna say something to Vince. What I was just thinking when you said that about the statistics of the kids going, the dads. Okay, all the combination of the mother-child relationship, the father's relationship with the mother, blah 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 blah. So I guess when I think of it from another, because I look at everything from all perspectives, maybe if men, in a sense, did have more of their son or daughter's time, it provides them something to focus, have goals on. You know, like let's say, Vince, let's say you had your child with you. You probably would move a lot different because now you have a purpose. You know what I'm saying? So it can make sense why women, kind of Black women especially, are probably doing better because we have a purpose. It's like, okay, I got this child. I got to do this. I got to do. I'm talking about like in the educational, in the money. Let's just use DC wise, right? But let's say if you give the men the children, the fathers, the sons, it probably does give them more of a purpose. You know, it keeps them busy, keeps them occupied, it keeps them to teach somebody. You know, when you're teaching somebody, just like teachers, it gives you a purpose, you know? So I mean, it could be a positive thing to also ground the men in a sense too.
I see what you're saying. All right, let me slide over to Chloe. You want to say anything closing, Chloe, before we get out of here?
I would just say, first of all, I want to make sure people understand that when I speak on these type of subjects, I'm speaking with passion. It's not anger. I'm not angry at anybody. I really have a reason to be angry. But I have been called, and I've specifically been called to speak and tell the truth. And the truth is, we are literally, and you don't have to be spiritual. That's okay. If you're not, but the truth, that doesn't make, the fact that we have a creator and he is the one who ordains our purpose. It doesn't change that fact. And we're literally living our Bible prophecy right now. Literally, people are lovers of money, lovers of pleasure, prideful, boasters, lack of self-control. Like, this is what we're dealing with. Selfish. Like, this is literally where we are. This is the mindset. And if we don't actually understand what's happening around us and that it affects more than just us, then we're sort of lost. We're lost. And as advanced as we think we are, as much money as we think we're making, and as much progress as we feel we're making, because we can quantify it by these things and these experiences, we're actually in a worse situation now than we were when we were fighting for our rights. And I just don't think people understand that, because the mindset was different. We may have been at a disadvantage financially and as far as education and those things, but the mindset was completely different. The way we brought our kids up, the way we raised our children was completely different. The pride that we had in our community and each other was completely different. We've lost all of that. But now, because we have money and we have homes and we have these degrees and we have all these things, we feel like we're doing so much better. Black women feel like they're doing so much better. Yet a lot of our young Black women are literally unmarriageable. They don't even know how to be wives. They don't know. This is what we're dealing with. They don't know how to be wives. Some of them don't want to be, but they're mothers. They have those babies. And yes, it absolutely matters who you choose. It matters. There is no maybe. Choose better. Care about that the way you cared about maintaining your education. Pour into that process. Think that through the way you think through, your job situation. Care about that the way you care about your career. Some of the most important decisions we make in our lives, we make them flippantly. But then when it's time to talk about our cars or homes or jobs or education, boy, we on point. And we don't see a problem with that. We don't see an issue. So yeah, I'm gonna talk my stuff. I'm gonna talk it because I'm a peacemaker, not a peacekeeper. I ain't trying to keep no peace with y'all. Y'all need to hear this. I'm trying to make peace. I want to make peace for our children. I want to make peace for our community. And in order to do that, it's not sitting on the sidelines folding my hands when I see us burning houses all around me. So all I can say to close this out is that we got to have these conversations and we got to come to the table open to have an honest conversation. Or else, what's the point, guys? Why even do it? I know why I'm here. I know why I'm here. I know why Quay here. I know why this here every Wednesday. I know why we here. So y'all gotta decide, like what you own. Because this life is more about just you. It's about more than just you.
There it is. There it is. There it is. Let me go down to Vince. What you want to say, brother, before we get out of here?
First, I want to thank Cece for her apology. I know these conversations can get passionate. I'm a very passionate person. Don't take the passion as offense. And I just want to say, I challenge for those of us that have older teenage or grown children, really talk to them and see how they felt. Because I think sometimes we have a perception of how we parented instead of how our children got our parenting. And I think that's what opened my eyes to a lot of the mistakes that we make as a community. My daughter was saying, you know what, Dad, sometimes I didn't want to meet your girlfriend. I didn't want, every time I came home, you got a new girlfriend. Sometimes I just wanted it to be me and you. And I'm thinking, oh, well, she likes kids and she got kids and I got kids and they just put these kids together, but they don't want that. They want me. My son, Dad, I really wish sometimes when I was having problems in school that I didn't have to wait to call you. I didn't have to wait till you got off work. I didn't have to wait till the weekend. I needed you right then. They love me, but it breaks my heart. And it especially breaks my heart right now because, as most of you know, I've gotten remarried. I'm 50 with a 2-year-old and a baby due in 2 weeks. And I can't even imagine not being with my daughter every single day. And I'm going to do whatever I got to do to keep my marriage and my love alive because my daughter needs that. And I didn't even really understand it until I got this do-over. I didn't even understand. I'm thinking, since I ain't have no dad, I pay my child support and my kids ain't never want for nothing. And I took them to Disney World and they came every summer and every weekend and it's not enough. It's not enough, people. I know we want to think that it is, but it's not. It's not. Our kids need us every day. And so what I preach to my kids is make better decisions. My boys, they have a father wound. We've cried about it. We've cried about it. These kids are hurting. And I know they might not say it. Oh, yeah, I love you, Mama. And you doing the best that you can. But these kids are hurting. These men are not stepping up because they don't know how to step up. And that's not an excuse because they still need to. But that's why they need fathers in the beginning because men teach men how to be responsible. There is a difference between how women look at the world and how men look at the world. Men understand that we don't have no help. Nobody coming to save men, especially black men. We can't go to no shelter. There is no men's shelters. So men, these boys need to be taught to be responsible for themselves first. And that's what I teach my boys. I teach my boys, get your own place. Don't move in with your little dumb girlfriend. Get your own place. Learn to take care of yourself without the help of a woman. But they're so used to the help of their mamas that they go from their mama's house to their girlfriend's apartment, driving her car. And they a man because their mama done told them just because they had a penis that they was the man that I wasn't paying no bills, nothing. That's what's missing. And I'm saying this out of love because you know what I want for my daughter? I want my daughter to be the best woman that she can be, but then also to find her the best man she could have. I want my son to be the best man he can be and find him a woman, if that's what he wants, of course, and build a real legacy and a real family. And that's it.
Oh, there it is, man. That sums it up, man. I saw some comments down here. I saw Donovan and Kenyatta. Kenyatta said, "Can we please revisit this conversation?" You know what, Kenyatta? I'm down to revisit it. But we got to make some changes if we're gonna revisit it. Yeah, we got to make some changes. So I'm gonna process that for a minute, Kenyatta. I'm gonna process that. I saw you and Donovan drop them comments. Also, Donovan dropped a comment, said we need to come back to this topic with some solutions. Which I agree with that as well, Donovan. One solution I'm gonna give right now, I said this is just based off my observation, is we need to transition back to tradition.
Values.
Yeah, this new age stuff we doing, it ain't working.
Mm-mm. It ain't giving what it's supposed to have gave.
Yeah, it ain't working. Yep, I see a lot of conversations, and I see the ladies, you know, saying that they, you know, want a man who act like their granddads and move like their dads used to move and all of that, but they don't act like the mamas that was around at that time. And on the flip side, I see the men saying that they want these traditional women. They want these women to be submissive and all of these things, but yet they don't move like them granddaddies back then that was handling that biz.
That's a fact.
That's true.
See all this modern day stuff we done, because this is what it is. This is what it is. It took me a minute to figure this out. This is the difference, right? The reason why we don't truly want to go back to tradition, which we knew worked, is because tradition involved work.
Ooh.
We don't want to do that. Yeah, we don't want to put in no work. Yeah, we don't want to put in no work to be no good wife, no supportive wife. We don't want to put in no work to be no providing, protecting husband. We don't want to do that. Yeah, we out here, folks out here, you know, swelling up. We want to go grab some surgeries and whatever. We don't want to put no work in no gym.
It's too hard.
Yep, fellas out here, you know, playing around, but they don't want to put this work in and get their money up, get their stuff together. Like, they don't want to do that. Yeah, fellas talking about they looking for wives and can't find wives. Well, these ladies don't want to put in that work. That's why you can't find wives. And it goes on the flip side as well. These men don't want to put in the work either. They just want to get on here complaining on these platforms.
That's it.
Yeah, but this modern stuff, it ain't working. Basically, all we seeing now is, you know, back to the topic. We're seeing a lot of single mamas. We're seeing a lot of single daddies. We're seeing a lot of broken relationships. We're seeing crime rates increasing, jail rates increasing. And I said we love to throw around this generational wealth, but we seeing ourselves with less and less money. Yeah, just because you got a Gucci bag don't mean you got money. Just because you drive around in the Benz don't mean your family is well off after you gone. So we trying to take all these little shortcuts. We trying to do this little modern stuff. No work. It's just gonna drop in my lap. What we like to say, manifesting all this stuff that we trying to do. And at the end of the day, the only thing that's tried and true is hard work, dedication, and tradition, and morals and standards.
That's it.
That's the only stuff that's ever worked. But yet that's the stuff we want to get away from. So just to answer your question, Donovan, that's a solution right there. Let's actually go back and live tradition. Yeah, let's go back and do that. Yeah, I know we bring up these situations. Listen, this ain't no dig at you, Janice. I know we bring up these situations with the grandma and the granddad and other families and all of that. But even in those situations, there was still a solid level of tradition that was still there. Yep, there was still a level of value between that woman and that man. There were still decisions made that valued, or decisions made that were best for the family and not just self. That's when we was moving in a more solid direction in comparison to what we doing today. Yeah, so that's my solution for the night. I'll stop right there. But
I
yeah,
just wanna say
Kenyatta,
something
like
right
I said, go ahead, Vince. Go ahead, man.
We are due in 2 weeks from today. So if we don't have a show tomorrow, please pray for Remy. Please pray for my baby boy that everything goes well. And if I don't see you guys next week, maybe, I'll try to slide on here if I can, but we'll have a newborn.
All right.
So please
Yeah, no
pray
doubt.
for us.
No
Yes.
doubt.
Thank you.
No, let's say we
I
definitely
love y'all for real.
No, for sure, man. We
Love
love
you
you too,
too,
brother.
Pierce.
Like I said, we consistently, praying for y'all, man. Because I said, I see you over there doing your thing. Like I said, I see the family coming together. Like I said, I know it's definitely getting exciting. Let's say that's right around the corner, right there.
Yes, sir.
So yeah, no, like I said, we pray that everything goes smooth, man. And like I said, maybe once things settle out, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if you can bring little man up on here. I mean, he ain't about to get on here and comment yet, but but yeah, man. No, we like I said, we wish him the best on that one, man. Like I said, we happy for that, man. Yeah, we happy for that. But all right, man, we gotta get up out of here. It's just past 10:30. So man, shout out to everybody in the comments, man. We got so many comments. I done lost count. We appreciate everybody. Donovan in the building, Ray Cribbs in the building, Kenyatta, Remy in the building. I'm trying to run them through, trying to make sure I don't miss anybody. Bear with me.
Shantae.
Yeah, Shantae in the building as well. I ain't even got up that far yet. I think that's everybody. We got a lot of repeat comments. Shout out to my guy Lavelle. Almost missed that one. He was in there earlier. But man, like I said, this conversation went there, right? This conversation went there. We saw some emotion pop out. We heard some good. We heard some bad. We heard some solutions. We heard some changes in mindset. We heard a few things. We heard some accountability. We heard some respect, some value. We heard a lot of things. But man, at the end of the day, this is why we're here. Yeah, we're here to have these conversations to help change our trajectory as a people. Yeah, but I'm just going to touch on this and then we're going to get out of here. I know I've got some people out here who want to question what we do. They want to question why we say what we say. They want to question, some of the nonsense I've heard is we women bashing and all this other nonsense. We ain't here for none of that. Yeah, we're here to hash this stuff out. Yeah, we're here to go there. If it's triggering emotions, if it's got folks in their feelings, whatever. But this mess is happening. Yeah, but it's contributing to some of the negative stuff that we're seeing in our community. Yeah, I know at some point folks got to be getting tired of this stuff. I know some of these single moms, they got to be tired. They got to be getting tired. Don't nobody want to have to do all this on their own. Yeah, but I know that some of these dads, fighting with these mamas and child support and fighting for custody and all this stuff. I know these fellas getting tired. I know the kids getting tired. That's the piece that we don't never talk about. I know the kids probably getting tired of it too. Yeah, but we got to make some changes. Like Vince always say, we done made our decisions, right? But we got people that we're affecting that's coming behind us. So we got to start the changes now. And I said, that is why we here. Yeah, this ain't about no money. This ain't about no clicks. I ain't here for no clout. This ain't about no likes. This ain't about none of that. This is about somebody got to step up and do something. Yep, and we're trying to bring the platform so we can have these conversations. Like I said, and I appreciate everybody who comes on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, if it be Janice, Shantae, Remy, Kenyatta, Ray, Donovan, everybody who joins on the show and supports the show via coming on the panel or being in the comments. Yep, that is why we're able to do what we do. And like I said, I know it get hot in this thing, but we're going to go ahead and do what we do, and we're going to get to where we need to get. But yeah, I just had to address for the folks that's out there on that nonsense. I ain't here for that. Yeah, take that mess somewhere else. Yeah, we're not doing that over here. This real. This ain't scripted. Yeah, but I didn't send Janice no script. This real. Yeah, she asked me for the link, and here.
I wouldn't follow it anyway, probably.
But I'm just keeping it a buck. This ain't no movie.
Mm-mm.
These real people.
These are real feelings and emotions. When y'all see us talking, like, first of all, we all respect each other a lot. We everybody on this panel, we respect each other. We care about each other. When you see us responding, these are really our feelings. Like, these are really how we feel about these topics. Like, we're really speaking for real. Like, that's why you see sometimes we don't always agree. We might go back and forth about stuff. But at the end of the day, it's all love. Like, this is how we really feel. Like, we really having these conversations. And nobody is doing this just because. We all care enough to have these conversations, right? So, like, just know that, like, we for real about this stuff. This is real life for us.
No, for sure. No, because like I said, at the end of the day, like I said, we got to affect some change. And like I said, shout out to the folks who send me the emails. Shout out to the folks who send me the messages and just letting us know the fact that they've watched the show or they secretly watched the show. And because of some of the stuff that's been said on the show, they've made some changes on how they're moving. Shout out to the young ladies who have watched the show and told me that I had to go back and apologize to my man. Vince was right. Like, we do this for real. This ain't no game. Yeah, so for the folks who on that nonsense, thinking this on some nonsense, we don't do that over here. Take that somewhere else. But man, this Kandid Konvos, we do this show every Wednesday night, 8:30 Eastern Standard Time. Every Wednesday night, we're live on YouTube. We're live on Facebook. So definitely like, share, and subscribe. And man, do me a favor. When y'all come join us on the show, bring a friend with you. Mm-hmm. Yeah, we're trying to spread the word, get this great content out to as many of our people as possible. Yeah, we want all the perspectives. We want all the age ranges. We want all the experience levels. So, man, bring it to the show, man, and let's hash this stuff out and let's get us to the next level. But, man, with that being said, everybody have an awesome night, and we will catch you guys next Wednesday.